the more the merrier, you know what I mean?
But you know what? I'm not in your shot. I'm blocking your shot, but I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to dare to block your beauty, okay? Because this is about you and about me. Look at those boots.
Oh, please. The show's got your name on it. Of course it's about you. How could it possibly
Chris,
not be?
It's just, oh, Lord. How can I express what I'm thinking? You know, when you see, I guess, when you see great talent in front of you, for some reason you can't explain exactly what it is. To me, like, great talent is inexplicable to a certain degree. You appreciate it, but you can't, I don't know, you can't describe it.
Absolutely, sure.
You can't. You know, and what happened when I went to see you twice, I went to see you in that show right on the Manhattan Center. Remember?
Yeah. Tidings Brought to Mary. Also Storm Theater.
But yeah, Peter. We love Peter Dobbins. I love Peter, okay?
I do too.
We do. It's a stage presence and you work and you commit it on stage and you listen. You listen, you're there. And it's not about me, it's about you. You're not there for your sake. It's for your partner, for your, for your other actors. It's just, you're committed right from the beginning to an end, and it's just it's beautiful to see you on stage.
Thank you, Sissy. I mean, that to me is also, that's a very important thing, and I also don't think that's I don't think that's ever not right to do. You know, no matter how. Again, just for lack of a better word, how performance-oriented or how non-naturalistic or anything that whatever you're doing is, I think you always do need to be listening to the other person and to have a certain amount of honest, spontaneous reaction.
It's
that's
about truth. If I don't buy it, this is what it comes down to. I have to buy it. It's got to be truth.
Yeah.
It's happening. It's not an act.
Yeah.
Acting is not acting. It's not.
But listen, there's a paradox there because of course it is, right?
Well,
I mean, if the script is written down, you do know.
I know.
But
it's happening, Chris.
Listen, that's the nature of that's the nature of a paradox.
Yes.
You know, so that's part of why it's so exciting, and that's why it's, you know, I mean, I think of performances that I've seen that have inspired me or wowed me or got me excited.
I want to hear it. I want to hear you talking. You talk.
Well, I mean, they do tend to be those performances that seem like they're happening right then, and you know, of course, that they're not. That the script has been written, that choices have been made, that elements of it are deliberate. So, you know, as naturalistic as you try to be, it never can be completely so. But that's also the nature of art in general, I think. You know, I don't think there. Personally, I think there's sometimes can be a sort of fetishization of spontaneity or of lack of preparation, as if sort of realness were, you know, as if realness were sort of deadened by thought or by preparation, and I think that sometimes can go a bit too far. Because especially if you're seeing anything that's been, again, if that's been written, that's been rehearsed, that's been prepared, there is a certain amount of choices that are made. There are things that people know are going to happen. And so, of course, the amazing thing about it, the alchemy, is when as prepared, as thought out, as well rehearsed, as sure of yourself as you are, it still feels free and spontaneous and unrehearsed, of course, and that's
pure
and pure.
It's pure.
And of course, that's the hardest thing to get at, of course. I mean, and that's why it's the kind of thing that people devote their lives to, because it's a nearly impossible sort of, like I said, to use the word again, it's a near impossible paradox. It shouldn't make sense. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't make sense. And yet it does. And so you spend your life sort of chasing either that experience as an audience member, hoping to see that, as a collaborator, because I think another thing that's often forgotten, you know, like you said, acting, you're not just up there for yourself, or you shouldn't be. You're not only up there, you should be reacting to the other people on stage. should be engaged with what the writer has written, and heck, even what the director has told you to. You know, there's a reason why all those people are involved,
Right.
and a piece of theater is better because of that element of collaboration.
Right.
So, you know, and I think because an actor is, of course, using themselves as their sort of thing, as their tool, as the thing they start with, it's easy to become a little into a sort of a feedback loop where you're just sort of
Right.
obsessed with yourself. So that's something that I think actors, all sort of artists, have to watch out for, and also to remember that an element of that collaboration is with the audience as well.
Of course.
That you know, the difference between theater and film is that sort of that crackle that comes from something actually happening in front of you. And again, you're trying to create this illusion of reality. But that's what, you know, the thing is, that's what all art is. You know, whatever the medium is you are trying to create something that isn't there. You're trying to go for, I took a class with this film director a couple months ago, and people had brought up that in some of his documentaries he had staged things, or had things were not quite as spontaneous as the word documentary would imply. He was like, well, there's really nothing wrong with that, because the fact is what I'm making, I am going for truth. And
Right.
if I fudge these details or create sort of a setup rather coach people to say again something they had said in a different context, if I asked them to say it again in a different context for the purposes of my documentary, that's not untrue, because it is going for this sort of ecstatic truth that
Right.
this whole piece would create. And you know, at first I found that a little bit off-putting, but the more I thought about it, yeah, it made more sense, because you know, why else would you write a play? Why else would you be in a play? Why else would you write a film, direct a film, write a poem, book, whatever it is, unless there's something to it that something you're trying to say, even if you can't articulate it. I mean, of course, if you could articulate it, then what would be the point of doing it as a piece of art?
Look at you. I'm just watching you. This interview became a monologue, and
Yeah,
I don't mind.
I apologize for that.
No, are you crazy? No. I want to keep listening to you, because that's the magic, that's the beauty, that's the gift, that's the talent that God gave you and your mom and your dad. My God.
Well, so we should go over that and see how much of that actually made sense. I mean, it made sense to me at the time, but we'll see if it hangs together.
I'm listening to you. I'm listening. I want to talk about Doll's House. So you're working on.
Yeah, right. I'm doing a production of Nora, which is Ingmar Bergman's adaptation of A Doll's House.
Okay,
and,
okay.
That actually starts
How's
previews
it
on
going?
It's fantastic.
Fantastic. Are you
it's
happy?
going very, very well. It's such an excellent play. Everybody involved in it is so wonderful that I'm just enjoying it very, very much. It's you know, Nora is, so Doll's House was written in the late 19th century. Mm-hmm. Then Ingmar Bergman did this adaptation of it about 100 years later.
Genius.
And he did it in 1970, I think.
Right.
So it's so interesting to see these same sort of issues that had been brought up in that sort of scandalized Europe when the play had opened back in, again, 1870, whatever. Then to sort of be rewritten and filtered through 100 years of which had included women's suffrage and, you know, and I think at that point sort of first wave feminism.
Right.
To see these same issues then just be filtered through that. But now we're doing this production, 40 years later, where the world has still changed, and women's place in society, women's rights, feminist philosophy, all of that has progressed too. So there's sort of this two levels of filtration. That's not the best word for it. Two levels through which, you know, it's got these two levels sort of behind. You know, we're doing it right now. We're doing it as a play without thinking about it too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you can't help but be conscious of those things
course.
and how the writing, not that it's dated, but that it was written at a time, and that it was also written commenting about a time before. So now our production is commenting on even on that. So it's just a very, very exciting process. And again, the play is so well written. It's short, but every word is very sort of well chosen, and so it makes for a wonderful experience. So yeah, so I'm playing the husband in that.
You're right on for that character. Any dream roles, Chris?
You know what? Not really. Only because
You're not giving me the answer that I'm expecting. You're too unpredictable, and I like it. It's good. It's good. You're
part of it is because I also write myself.
Yes, I want to get
part
into
of it.
that too.
Part of that is that I keep my dream roles are hopefully ones that I'll end up writing for myself. Not so much for myself, but of plays that I write. That would be my dream. Would be to be able to have written something worth bringing up and showing to the world and being able to play them. But besides that, I tend to be very excited when I see new things. So my dream roles are probably things that I haven't seen yet. You know what I mean?
Good answer.
And then also there's certainly things that I would be, like I saw some shows that I've seen that I've loved incredibly. Like, well, if I were in it, I don't know if I would have loved it quite as much as the people that I've seen. So they wouldn't necessarily become dream roles. But then on top of that, of course, who doesn't want to play Hamlet? Or
right.
I like Long Day's Journey into Night very much.
What? No, I can't believe it. This is insane. We have 1 minute left.
You told me it would go quickly, and it really has.
You see how quick it goes? No, I can't. And we keep going, even though the show's going to be done in 60 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, I refuse to go home. I'm staying with this man right here, the same room, and we're going to keep talking for about 10 minutes more. This is so interesting. You love the craft. You're so, so, so good.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're so good, Chris. You're deep. You know exactly what you're coming from.
Oh, well, I hope so.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I can't. I'm upset now because I can't believe it. We haven't covered your writing. I want to get into that one more time. No time. You're working with regional theater everywhere, in Seattle, everywhere. You've been everywhere.
I like travel.
Yeah.
That helps.
Oh man, I can't believe it. Look,
Hey,
Chris.
The closing credits are already up.
Look, you tell me. We're
Sad.
gonna keep talking about 10 minutes more. I don't care. We're gonna keep talking about you. How are you feeling so far?
Great. I'm loving it. I just hope I'm not rambling too much.
No, you're so deep. You're an actor, Chris. You're an actor.